Well, hello. I'm Steffi, and I'm reading Soul on Earth, a guide to human, a guide to Soul on Earth, a guide to living and loving your human life. Um, I'm on section 1, chapter 8, releasing shame and self-hatred. This is a quote by Hillel. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? The work of healing grows more complicated when we have compounded our original plan with inner structures of self-hatred and shame. These are particularly problematic states because of their essence. Self These are particularly problematic states because their essence, self-rejection, both emerges from and it perpetuates a feeling of separation from the self and from all of life. So in addition to causing suffering on their own, they block us from connecting with the resources that can heal. Wait. Oh. They block us from connecting with the resources that can heal that suffering. For instance, if you have a lot of shame and self-hatred, you are probably in need of numerous soul retrievals. However, your shame and self-hatred create an unsafe environment for hurt soul parts to come back to. Viewed energetically, the posture of self-rejection looks like a kind of doubling over in response to perceived external pain or attack. Although this posture begins as a way to try to protect ourselves, it blocks us from light. In that cut-off state, we are very likely to form a belief that says, there's something wrong with me. This self-blame is nothing like the wholesome state of self-responsibility in which we recognize our own contribution to our suffering and are able to initiate whatever change is needed. Instead of self-blame and shame, instead, self-blame and shame shift the energetic burden onto the self in a distorted way, leaving us incapacitated and paralyzed, and apparently unable to read. Shame and self-hatred work like an internal electric fence, corralling us into certain behavioral and energetic patterns and away from others, thus creating an inner state of rigidity. Since they are contracting rather than expansive, for example, they close us down rather than opening us up. They also narrow the energetic pathways through which whatever we need or desire can potentially come. In this way, they create the non-physical equivalent of hardened arteries, predisposing us to non-physical heart attacks, painful states of increasing intensity. Just as physical angina predisposes us to physical heart attacks. When we are trapped in these states, there are too many blocked internal roads for the healing energies of love and compassion to penetrate. Yet, just as the physical heart cannot operate properly without the blood and oxygen it needs, the non-physical heart and spirit cannot function without love and compassion. How can we shift this logjam? Arguing with shame or self-hatred is no more effective than arguing with a piece of furniture you don't want in your house any longer. Trying to talk yourself out of internal structures won't do any good. Rather, you must acknowledge the existence of the erroneous beliefs you are holding. See that they are not truth, even if they still feel true to some parts of you. See that they are not you, and see that they are not necessary to you. In this way, you can become able to transmute or release your self-rejection. Whoa. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling this wall of tears in my throat. Like this shame is like, no, you're going to expose us. You're telling our secrets. It's okay. Okay. Practice for releasing self-hatred or shame. Number 1, see that it is there. Observe the form or forms that your self-hatred or shame may take. In other words, how do these feelings or beliefs present within you? Do you hear inner voices telling you you're stupid, you're worthless, you'll never amount to anything, or you're rotten to the core? Do you feel a generalized heaviness, sick feeling, stabbing pain between your eyes, an image of wanting to cause yourself physical harm? These are some ways my clients have described the energetic presence of self-hatred or self-hating voices within them. Do you see a visual image of the self-hatred or shame? A judge pounding a gavel, a black blob in your chest, a dark, sticky mass of tar behind your forehead? Or does it make itself apparent in some other way? Number 2, see that it is not true. Okay, that sounds easy. Remind yourself that life itself does not reject any part of itself, nor any part of us. That's kind of sweet, actually. Therefore, since you are a part of life, it is obvious that the rejecting posture of shame and self-hatred cannot be true or truth. This emotional posture emerges from a misunderstanding, usually a childhood feeling that something is wrong. Undoubtedly, something was wrong in your childhood, but the shame mistakenly translated that feeling into the idea that something was wrong with you. In fact, there could not possibly be anything wrong with you, just as there cannot be anything wrong with a tree, bush, or flower. It's true, of course, that some trees are healthier than others, some taller, shorter, greener, or less green. Some may even be stunted or diseased. But even a tree in a state of sickness would clearly be valid and worthy, deserving of compassion and care, not blame. Life does not hate a sickly or malformed tree. Life is incapable of hating anything. Life energy is, quite simply, composed of love. I love that. Life energy is quite simply composed of love. Nor would the stunted tree ever hate itself or feel shame over its condition. It is only because of your individuated consciousness, your ability to perceive yourself as separate, that you have incorrectly translated the general sense, something is wrong, into the specific and incorrect conclusion, something is wrong with me. See, number 3, see that it is not you. As you observe the shame or self-hatred, notice yourself observing it. Just being able to observe it can help you begin to separate yourself from it. To make this distinction even more clear, deliberately direct your memory to a moment in your life or an aspect of your life in which the shame or self-hatred was not present. Allow yourself to remember and re-experience this moment or aspect as vividly as possible. Tune in to how it looks, feels, tastes, sounds, smells. Then visualize clearly that since you cannot experience life so fully in the absence of shame or hatred or self-hatred, those emotions cannot possibly be you. No matter how infrequent or brief such instances may have been, they showed you that what you are is separate and distinct. Sorry, let me redo that. Now that no matter how infrequent or brief such instance may have been, they show you that what you are is separate and distinct from the shame or self-hatred. No matter how frequently you experience those beliefs or how real they feel, you exist apart from them. Even if you cannot remember a single instant when you were free of shame or self-hatred, the very fact that you can search for such a memory, that you have a consciousness capable of even imagining you separate from the feelings of shame or hate or self-hatred, indicates that you are larger than those feelings and therefore distinct from them. Number 4, see that it is not necessary to you. There are many reasons why unpleasant inner states like self-hatred or shame can come to feel necessary to us. They may, for example, serve to block out even more distressing emotional states like terror, loss, grief, or rage. If this is the case for you, you'll need to work closely with higher consciousness sources of love in order to weather the emotional storms that may result when the shame or self-hatred lifts. Such short storms generally last only a short time, but they can be very intense. It's a good idea to seek help from a human healing practitioner if you feel nervous about going through the storm on your own. Shame or self-hatred may also feel necessary to us simply because they are so familiar. You may find it hard to imagine who you'd be without them, or what your friendships or relationships would be like. A client once said to me, "I don't think my friends would like me anymore if I were happy. It's my neuroses that makes me interesting." If shame and self-hatred have been major players in your inner landscape, it's true that releasing them will probably precipitate big shifts in your life. Again, the higher consciousness support will help you become ready for these shifts. Number 5, believe in your ability to release it. Removing non-physical matter from your being is a process that is both energetic and symbolic. If you start to doubt the process, thinking it's all in my head, remember the shame and self-hatred are all in your head. Non-physical techniques are the most effective way to shift the non-physical phenomena. You can also use pathwork style phrasing. I decide, choose, and wish to release this self-hatred. I declare my readiness and experience. I declare my readiness to experience this change and ask all the forces of truth, love, and compassion to assist me. Release it. Number 6, release it. There are many ways to sense or imagine yourself releasing the shame or self-hatred according to how you see or perceive it. Your guides can help you find a way that works for you. For instance, you might pick up a non-physical broom or vacuum cleaner and sweep or vacuum the self-hatred away. Or you could pass a powerful non-physical image over your being, collecting the bits of shame like iron filings, and then bury them beneath the earth. Your guides could give you a bag or a box especially designed to hold the shame or self-hatred, and then take it far away to a place where it could be composted or recycled into positive life energy once again. Or guides that take the form of animals might devour the shame or self-hatred, perhaps even devour you in the process, then spit you back out again, cleansed. However you picture the releasing process, you may find that you can energetically see or sense the shame or self-hatred moving upward, out of your body and energy field, and into the light around you. If you can't see shame or self-hatred moving downward into the earth, which is, of course, also a master transformer, capable of transmuting all manner of toxic or decaying matter into new forms. Or you might envision the powerful, I read that, or you might sense the shame or self-hatred moving downward into the earth. The earth, which is, of course, also a master transformer, capable of transmuting all manner of toxic or decaying matter into new forms. Or you might envision the powerful light of love surrounding the self-hatred, illuminating and penetrating it so deeply that it ceases to be hatred at all. Since the imagination is the most powerful tool available for working with non-physical reality, any of these visualizations can create real shifts. Number 7, give it back. If you are aware that the energy of shame or self-hatred came to you from another person, either because she actively shamed you or because you caught the contagious self-hatred he carried, you can also energetically send it back to them. If your shame or self-hatred came from someone else, he or she needs to work with it in order to evolve. So you are actually helping them as well as helping yourself by giving it back. If the source of the shame refuses to take it back, you can give it to her, his higher self, for safekeeping. I think I'd want to give it to their higher self. Number 8, remember your power. However you see or experience the release of your shame or self-hatred, remember that the locus of power is within you. Shame and self-hatred, crap, book closed. Shame and self-hatred are based on a misunderstanding. They are not true or truth, and they are also not you. You do not need them. You can release them. This is just one way to work with shame, self-hatred, and other difficult emotional states. Focused work with prayer and intention can be equally effective. Shamanic journeys offer a useful vehicle for most kinds of healing, including the transformation and release of self-hatred. Shamanic drum healings uses the power and vibration of the drum to help move difficult internal matter out of our bodies and beings. I often drum for my clients when we engage in this kind of process. All of these approaches give us access to the part of the self in which the non-physical structures are held. Since each of us contain a unique inner landscape with our own particular configuration of non-physical structures, different approaches may be more beneficial or resonant for different people. What's most important to remember is that our internal matter, including our self-rejection, shame, and self-hatred, can be completely transformed or released. For a long time, I had been aware that whenever I made major changes in my life, a part of me felt terrified and started internally screaming, "No!" I had always prided myself on my ability to ignore this inner voice and just forge ahead. This enabled me to act swiftly, impulsively, and decisively. The downside was that I would often get blindsided by fear or grief later, after the move, job change, or breakup. In a healing session, I saw a vision of the part of me I identified as me, with its back against the closet door. Inside the closet was a monstrous, deformed, limbless blob, which I had starved and imprisoned. In this vision, I felt there was nothing more important than keeping that door shut. Letting the monster out would ruin everything. Of course, my healer had told me to call in my guides at the beginning of the session. Now she asked how my guides felt about the monster. Naturally, they didn't perceive it as monstrous at all. Slowly, I backed away from the closet door so that my guides could retrieve and hold the infant. And as they held it, I watched its monstrous, deformed features turn into the features of a normal infant. Fear is deforming. Love is undeforming, one guide told me. At first, my vision flipped back and forth between the view of the normal infant and the horribly deformed one. Then it began to stabilize as the normal infant, but I was still scared of integrating the infant, afraid that it would render me helpless and paralyzed. Again, my healer asked me how my guides felt about the baby. Of course, I could tell they weren't afraid that picking it up and loving this infant would leave them helpless. Take a clue, my healer suggested in good humor. In the light of my guide's loves, I could see that the monster I had fought so hard to keep locked up was only a young, vulnerable part of me in need of compassion and contact. If I could hold and comfort that part of myself, it wouldn't have to interfere with my life choices. Reconnecting with it would enable me to move through whatever fear or grief I held in an organic way, rather than barricading myself against it and then getting blindsided. Like many seemingly strong, self-confident people, I had created a persona of strength by internally disowning the part of me that didn't feel or look strong. Although this served me in some ways, it made me energetically lopsided and unsteady, while also stunting the growth of the disowned part. Over time, through this soul retrieval and many others, I have become more able to move through the world as someone who is both strong and weak, both confident and frightened. Increasingly, this authenticity has let me experience true strength, flexible, elastic, and resilient, rather than its rigid, defended facsimile. That was a good one. Thank you, Ruth.